just kind of pushed against a full-on rebuild here for a long time. I don't know what this means for Kristaps. I don't know what this means for Bradley Beal. Johnny Davis, big work in progress, showed a little bit of flash late this year. Maybe he can still be something. I don't know. Really rough rookie year as a whole for Johnny Davis out of Wisconsin for DC. But I don't know. This is kind of fascinating. Who stays, who goes based on where the Wizards are. It seems like you're in favor of going the full on, just tear this thing down. And I think this is probably the closest that the Wiz have come to the full on tear down, be bad for a while in a really long time. But I think it's welcome. I think this is what they should do. What do you think?
I think it's still too early to talk as optimistically as you were talking right now, Chase. But okay. I agree with you. No, I don't trust it. Like, yes, new management until they don't re-sign Kyle Kuzma, until they let Kristaps Porzingis go, until Bradley Beal is traded or on the block rather. I'm going to assume that they're going to do what they've always done because they've given me no reason to think differently, right? Like we've seen this middling Wizards team. We saw the 2018-2019, the 2019-2020, 2021-2022. Like we saw this. We saw this from back when they had John Wall and they weren't trying to rebuild. Even when he was getting constantly injured and it was like, okay, you know what? Scrap it all, build around Bradley Beal. Like that didn't happen until the very end. Like by the time Wall was done, like by the time they gave up on Wall, like Wall had been done for like 2 years. You know what I mean? Like that's the Wizards right now. So until they change that, I'm not inclined to believe that they're going to. Because you're right, this is the most perfect point to do it right now. Get the draft pick that you have coming in. I think they're 8th if I remember, something like that. Give all the minutes to Johnny Davis, and I mean that he had at least a promising second half of the season. Like he wasn't great, obviously, for most of the year. In fact, he was downright awful. I think we saw that from summer league. So, like, yeah, if they do something like that, get like an Anthony Black, or like if they go that route and just build around their young players, then there's some hope there. I mean, I would look at young guys. Corey Kispert is relatively young. Daniel Gafford's in that range. Jordan Goodwin's not old, not necessarily. And then of course you have, the draft pick you bring in. Of course you have, I just mentioned him just now. Johnny Davis, like that's not a great core.
No,
totally understand that. You're definitely looking to 2024 and maybe even 2025. But at least you pick the direction. It's rebuilding. See what you have in the young players you have. If not, look to acquire more assets, draft picks. You know how to play the game. At least Washington should know, right? And then go from there. But as of right now, I mean, I have no reason to believe that they're going to yet. They made a nice move. Great. Like, that's awesome. And honestly, like, complete, no sarcasm. Like, very good for them to do that. One step in the right direction. But it's one thing to do that and make a big change. Another thing if you're going to make a big change and then give the same old marching orders you've been doing.
That's fair.
So, we'll see.
I guess I'm just a bigger believer that they do it than the Bulls. Both should. I just feel like the Wizards too, like the Bulls at least have a couple more pieces, intriguing pieces. Like you still have Patrick Williams, you still have Zach LaVine. Like the Lonzo Ball thing just sucks. And if the reports are true, like that he really might never come back and that he's gonna be like that sucks. All across the board because I mean they were flirting with the best team in the East last season. Like, that was not long ago that this team might have been a 1 seed overall. So I at least understand a little bit. I still didn't believe in them with DeRozan and LaVine and Ball in the company to, like, actually get through the East. But you could at least sell that, right? Like, you could sell that for 5 years, 3 to 5 years, whatever.
I can see the vision. I mean, I don't agree with
the Wizards. There's no vision. Like, you won 35 games. Like, Bradley Beal is not like he's not getting any younger. Like you don't have to sign Kyle Kuzma. Like Kristaps Porzingis is giving you a lot, which is great. Sell high there. Like the injury stuff and everything else. Like you have something, but outside of that, it's not like Johnny Davis needs all like Monty Morris, Delon Wright, who I like, Kendrick Nunn, Jordan Goodwin. Like it's just very easy for them to bottom out, and what that means is just moving on from Bradley Beal. You'll probably get some good stuff there. Not re-signing Kyle Kuzma, which is not hard at all. You should not pay whatever it's going to take to bring back Kyle Kuzma. And then just sell high on Kristaps Porzingis. Like, that's it. That's all you have to do. And then you're suddenly one of the worst teams in the NBA, and it's not really particularly close. Exactly. And those aren't going to be hard. Those should not be like the hard, I don't know, man. I really like it's like, you're just bad. You were bad last year. You're a 35-win team. Like, this is that was best case scenario. You got a healthy Kristaps. You still got a lot of Bradley Beal. You are not close to being a good basketball team with this core, and there's no path for you to be a good basketball team in this core. So I think they should, and I'm very, very interested to see what the Wizards do, because I think they're going to be a sneaky, very, very fascinating offseason team to monitor. Speaking of offseason teams to monitor here, Corban, your Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron, Dallas, Kyrie, lot going on there. What are you thinking in this regard? Is there part of you that's like, that LeBron gets hurt, he plays hurt this postseason, you push as far as you can, you get to the Western Conference Finals, you get swept, you didn't have that third guy. It's kind of what's happening with the Heat, where it's just Jimmy and Bam who's having a good series, and they just don't have the options. Like the Nuggets have so much firepower, they're so deep across the board that the Lakers just didn't have enough at the end. Like the Rui Hachimura ISOs late finally came back to bite them in Game 3 and Game 4 there, where it was like, oh, they don't know where else to go. And when D'Angelo Russell plays as poorly as he does late in that series, you can't survive that way. So LeBron and Anthony Davis know that. Like they know they need somebody else to keep this thing humming, and with their age and their injuries and just the mileage on both those guys, I'm very curious what they do, because my gut says CP3 ends up there. I think that's how they do it, and they bring back Schroeder, and they just run it back with those two as their league guards, and they see what happens going into next year, and if CP has to sit for defensive possessions, whatever, and they figure it out, because Schroeder actually really, really works for LA, and I think he's just someone they'd never want to give the ball to, they never want to pay, they never want to bring back, but it's like Schroeder just plays well, and he just blends with LeBron and Anthony Davis, and he's just a great defender. He had a great postseason. I think they should bring him back and make him a priority this offseason, but we'll see what happens. What do you think happens? Do you want them to stay small there? Do you think there's a party that's like, what if LeBron, we just got off this and we really blew it up?